There's a scene in episode 5 of Maul Shadow Lord that I haven't seen a single reviewer talk about, and I think it's the most important moment in these two episodes. It's not a fight scene, it's not Maul, it's not even Devon, it's her master, Iko Diodaki, a Jedi Master who has spent his entire life in the service of the light side of the Force, telling his Padawan that they will do what they must to survive. That sentence, almost word for word, is what Darth Maul said in episode 3 when Devon called him a murderer. A Jedi Master is now speaking Darth Maul's language, and he doesn't even know it. That's what episodes 5 and 6 are actually about, not the Empire arriving on Janix, not the Inquisitor, not the chase. Those are all the plot. The argument, the one this show is building week by week, is something quieter and more devastating than any of that. Maul is winning, and he's barely lifting a finger to do it. Let's get into it. Before we talk about what happens in these episodes, we need to talk about what episode 5 does structurally, because it makes a choice that most shows wouldn't have the confidence to make. Darth Maul, the title character of this series, has 2 scenes in episode 5. 2! He's healing his wounds, he's plotting in the dark, he's almost entirely absent from the episode that bears his name, and yet he is in every single frame. That's not a writing gap, that's the show proving something it has been building towards since episode 1. By episode 5, Maul doesn't need to be present to be the cause. He pulled a thread on Janix weeks ago, pitted 2 crime syndicates against each other, refused to leave when the smart move was to run, stayed for a Twi'lek Padawan he has no strategic reason to care about, and now the entire planet is unraveling around that decision. The Empire is here because of Maul. The Lawson family is falling apart because of Maul. Devon is questioning everything she believes because of Maul. He's not in those scenes. His fingerprints are on every second of them. There's a term for this in filmmaking. Maul has become the weather. You don't need to see the storm to feel it. You just need to watch what it does to everyone standing in the rain. Now let's talk about Devon, because her arc in episode 5 is doing something far more interesting than temptation. She's not being seduced, she's exhausting herself. Every argument Daki makes for patience and survival, Devon hears as another reason to feel helpless. Every time the Empire tightens its grip on Janix, she runs out of reasons to disagree with Darth Maul. And here's the thing, Maul isn't in the room, he's not whispering in her ear, he's not offering her power or glory. The galaxy is making his argument for him. And then Daki says it, they'll do what they must to survive. Stop. Remember episode 3? Devon calls Maul a murderer, and Maul says, we do what we must to survive. Almost word for word, same sentence, different mouth, different intention, same result. That's the argument these episodes are making, and I haven't heard anyone else say it clearly. Devon isn't being corrupted from the outside. She's being confirmed from the inside. Every person she trusts, her master, her training, her instincts, is arriving at the same conclusion Maul arrived at first, and the gap between his worldview and hers keeps closing, not because he's pulling her toward him, because the galaxy keeps pushing her in this direction. Maul doesn't need to win the argument. He's already won it. He just hasn't told her yet. Sam Witwer said something in an interview that I keep coming back to. He said, Maul has a gulf between intention and action. That sometimes that gulf is so wide it's the difference between good and evil. What these episodes prove is that Devon has the same gulf. She intends to resist. She intends to stay true to the Jedi path, but her actions, her frustration, her exhaustion, her inability to run one more time are moving her somewhere her intentions never agreed to go. She's not falling to the dark side, she's collapsing toward the only person who seems to have an answer. Then there's Marrok, or Marrok, or Marrok, I've heard many different pronunciations, the first brother who arrives on Janix, and I want to be precise about what this show does with him, because in Ahsoka, Marrok was a mystery that dissolved into green smoke. He was there, and then he wasn't. We never understood what he was or what he cost. Shadow Lord is now giving us this answer, and the answer is the thesis. Marrok is what the Inquisitor program produces. He's what happens when Palpatine takes a person, someone who maybe once was a Jedi, someone who had a name and a master and a path, and runs them through his system long enough. What comes out the other side isn't a person anymore, it's a function. It hunts, it reports, it dissolves into smoke when it's done. And in episode 5, it does something even more precise. It reads the history of the battlefield through touch and discovers Devon exists. Maul's decision to stay didn't just endanger himself, it painted a target on the person he stayed for. Dave Filoni didn't bring Marrok back from Ahsoka arbitrarily. He brought him back because this show needed Devon to see, up close in a tunnel, with a spinning lightsaber coming at her face, what Palpatine's system makes of people. And here's what she doesn't know. Maul was almost that. The man who taught her how to see the galaxy clearly, who told her the truth about power and survival and the failure of institutions. He was one bad outcome away from becoming exactly what just tried to kill her. Palpatine had him, shaped him, used him. The only reason Maul has anything left that resembles a self is that he was too angry to fully disappear. Devon fought alongside Maul against something Palpatine produced. She felt the difference between them and that. What she can't see yet is how thin that difference actually is. And then episode 6 turns everything up. The tension, the action, the stakes, and right in the middle of it, Maul makes the choice that changes everything. He fights Marrok, not for the plan, not for Crimson Dawn, not for the criminal empire he's been building since episode 1. He fights Marrok for Devon. Think about what that means. Rook Cass told him to leave. She said, Devon tried to kill you. Maul was like, yeah, that's why she'd make a great apprentice. But that's not that's actually happening here. And I think on some level, even Maul knows that. Because earlier in episode 5, Maul tells Rook Cass something that sounds like strategy, but lands like confession. He says, the strongest metal is forged at the crucible. He's talking about Devon, about how pressure and fire create the material he needs. But listen to that metaphor more carefully. He's not describing a person. He's describing raw material, something to be shaped, something to be made into a weapon. That is Palpatine's entire methodology, applied to the person Maul is supposedly connecting with. Sam Witwer described Maul in one interview as a latchkey kid. He said Palpatine was too busy to watch Maul every second. That Maul probably snuck out, had relationships, had experiences he never told anyone about, and that the first relationship Sidious discovered, he killed immediately. Maul knows what it costs to care about someone under Palpatine's shadow. He paid the price as a child. He stayed on Janix anyway. He thinks he's forging a weapon. What he's actually doing, for the first time with any real autonomy, is trying to give someone the thing nobody ever gave him, a way through, a reason to keep going, a hand extended in the dark. Now he's going to fail at that also, but because the only tools he has are supervillain tools, and supervillain tools make weapons, not people. Devon lowers her weapon at the end of episode 6. She wasn't recruited, she wasn't convinced, she ran out of reasons to resist, and so she lowered her weapon. That's the most important image in these 2 episodes, not because it means she's gone, we don't know that yet, but because it means the argument is over. Maul doesn't need to make his case anymore. The Empire made it for him. Daki accidentally confirmed it, and Marrok demonstrated it in a tunnel on a moving train. Here's the thing I keep coming back to, and I haven't heard anyone take it far enough. George Lucas had a plan for the sequel trilogy. Maul as the main villain, Darth Talon as a young female apprentice. Disney scrapped all that, but Dave Filoni never forgot it, because what we're watching right now, week by week, episode by episode, is Maul building the conditions for a Darth Talon, whether he knows it or not. Not because he's following a plan, because he's reproducing the only relationship template he's ever known. He was taken young. He was shaped into a weapon. He was told that the galaxy only speaks one language and that he needed to become fluent in it. And now, without knowing it, without intending it, he is saying the same things to Devon. The forge metaphor wasn't strategy, it was memory. And then that final scene. Marrok kneels before a hooded figure. We never see the face, we never hear the name. He just says, "My lord." And he reports that Maul is on Janix. Maul stayed for Devon. That decision, the most human decision he has made in this entire series, the one driven by something Palpatine spent his entire childhood trying to destroy, just handed his location to Palpatine's apparatus. He will never know that he handed Palpatine his location. He will never know that what Devon becomes. He will never know what Crimson Dawn eventually does for the rebellion. He dies on Tatooine before any of it happens. He goes out grateful that it's finally over. That's not a tragedy, that's a myth. Now, for those that don't know, the Shadow of Maul prequel comic has 2 issues out right now. I think you should be reading it alongside the show. It shows you the man Maul was before Janix, before Devon, before any of this. And it makes everything happening right now hit twice as hard. Episodes 7 and 8 drop next Monday. The weapon is built. The Empire knows where Maul is. Devon has lowered her weapon. The only question left is what the Force does with all of it. I will be here next week. If this is your first time on this channel, welcome. Hit subscribe, and before next Monday, find the Shadow of Maul prequel comic. Like I said, 2 issues out right now. Read it, come back here, and we'll talk. I'll see you next week.